having a full-time job and,
Yeah.
family.
So I want to share my thoughts and I want to hear your opinions. My opinion is that I love what's going on with women today. You guys are so much more empowered than the generations before us, especially like, my parents, your grandparents. I think about, because we had, people don't know, on your grandfather's side, right? He was one of 8 children. It was 2 boys and 6 women. So I grew up with a lot of women over me, which was fine. Never had an issue with like a woman telling me what to do or whatever. That was just normal in our family. But I look at the opportunities that they had, and I know that they had a lot less than people today. So when I see you doing what you're doing, or other women that I've met doing what they're doing, I'm so like grateful for that, because I wish that those ladies would have had that, and how things could have been different had they had those opportunities. But I also feel that with that opportunity, there's sort of a pressure. Women have it harder than men, because I think women have to be 2 different people, because they're being told that, girlfriend, you can do anything and you can have everything. I believe the first part of that. You can do anything, just the same as a man, but you can't have everything. You can't have that great career and have a great family, because they're just kind of opposite. Because great career means a lot more time focused on this side, which means a lot less time focused on this side. You can have a decent career and a decent family. I think you could do that, but you can't have both of them great. Does that make any sense to you what I'm saying? Do you feel that?
You're saying, like, because the responsibilities and the time that you have to put into each thing is like, there's just not enough time to give yourself to all of that, and then also be happy yourself,
Yeah.
And it's hard to balance those two. I don't have a family, so there's only so much I can say about it, but I see it with my own mom, like she works, she comes home, like me and my brother are older now, so she doesn't have to worry so much. But I remember it being a lot, like she'd work all day and then having to come home to like deal with me and my brother, like even the homework situation, like having to deal with us, like it can be very exhausting and like challenging on her.
Stressful, very stressful.
Very stressful. I definitely seen it a lot. So it's like, it makes me wonder like what it's going to be like when I am at that stage in my life, and how will I balance that, because I do think it's very important. Like family means so much to me. I think the way my parents raised me, like we sat down every single day for dinner together at 6:00, like that, you sat around the table together, you talked,
That's
like,
awesome.
You didn't phone at the table. Like that's how it was for years in my house. So, I value family a lot, but then it's like, now you also have to worry about a career and making money and, being able to provide for your family.
Yeah.
And in each relationship, it'll change. Some people are more comfortable with the man taking on more, or the woman taking on more, or being 50-50. I think it comes down to each individual of deciding that for themselves. But I definitely feel like nowadays, like you see more 50-50, probably.
Yeah.
I
would say, yeah, you're right. The exception would be that sometimes one partner in the relationship makes so much money that the other person really doesn't have to work. And if they choose not to, then they do that. And it could be the man, it could be the woman. It doesn't matter.
I have a question for you. Like, in your opinion, do you feel like this will like kind of, how it affects a man's ego?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I think that plays a role too, of like being a man in a relationship. And what if you're in a relationship with a woman that makes way more than you, like, and can provide better for your family than you can,
Yeah. Thank you for asking me that question. I think it's good. So yeah, the ego, a lot has been said about the male ego, and it's a thing. It's a thing that I've had issue with my whole life. Although because of the way I was raised, I had an older sister. My sister Carol is 10 years older than me. So when I was growing up, it was like almost like I had two mothers or my aunts. You know what I mean? So I think as far as me, like, listening to women and having women in an authoritative position, it was never a thing. But as far as like ego, like you're saying directly, like what if, say, my wife made more money than me? She's asked me this question too. We've had these talks, and she feels like I would have an issue with it. And on the surface, I would say that no, I don't. Like, yeah, I'll stay home. I'll do this, but I don't love doing that. Like times where I have to do most of the traditionally female roles. I don't love it. I don't have as much patience for the children, raising the children as much as my wife does. But more direct, you're talking about like, even like, do you feel less of a man because your wife is wearing the pants and bringing home the bread? I don't think I would, but I will qualify what I'm saying that if I'm not doing something that feels manly, yes, I will feel, I have to. So here's why I say I think I don't have a problem, because I do a podcast and I wrote my first book, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. So as long as I'm doing something that's directing me towards eventual outcome, maybe, I'll make some money off of one of these things, I feel okay. But if I wasn't doing these things and all I was doing was the traditional female roles, I think there's a possibility that I would feel a little less masculine. But there's another factor to consider on this, which is it's not just what you're thinking, it's also what people are thinking of you. And anyone who tells you what people think of you doesn't matter, it shouldn't, but it does. If it affects you, if people are saying a certain thing, if people are going around and saying, that Richard, that Blanco, what's up? It's going to affect you. You know what I mean? Even if you don't want to think that way, you don't want to feel that way, it would. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So going off that too now, if you have a man who, it doesn't affect his ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think with the times of women being more empowered and more of that role, that men will kind of step back and be like, you take care of me now. Like, do you think more men are going to be like, I'm okay with my wife taking care of everything. I'll stay home, do the little things around the house.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at the trends, statistically speaking, it's already happening a lot more. We have good friends from California that do that. We know some people that do. The wife just makes a lot more money, and it just makes more sense. So, like you said, like you value family values, we do. Like that's a thing of our family. My wife doesn't work. She can't. She has 2 bachelor's degrees. She's very smart, very capable. But I told her, look, the job that I have is going to take me away a lot. So you need to be like a single mom, basically. It's better for our kids, for our family, if you stay home. She can work. She's more than capable of doing it, But I'd rather her be there for her kids. When I see my kids go to school and get good grades, or, someone meets our kids and they go, wow, your kids are so well behaved. I'm like, yeah, because they have someone there with them. When they come home, taking them to school, picking them up from school, when they need to do their homework, teaching them life lessons, or making sure they do their chores. If you don't have that, if both parents are working and striving towards a career, I think the family loses out on that. And I'm not telling people how to live their lives, but that's the reality. We need to face that. That's a truth. I'm all for, like I said, the empowerment of women and everything, but we need to face facts. You could do whatever you want to do. You have the right to be whoever you want to be, but the truth is the truth. If you're going to try to be great at your career or whatever like that, something else is going to sacrifice because of that. It could be your relationship. It could be your kids, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think personally, like I've thought about it before too. Like if I had kids, I think kids grow up so fast and their childhood is just so crucial. and they, especially I'm an education major, so I take early education classes and read about these things and how much like kids learn in even just the first like 24 months of their lives. So like that's something I've thought about, like, maybe, I'm saying this now, who knows in the future, but maybe when I do have kids, maybe the first few years before they start actually going to school, like I'd stay home and actually spend that quality time with my kids, like, and you see them grow every single day, like it's not the same, but I have a younger sister from my dad and my stepmom, and she's 5 years old right now. And when I went away for college to Portland, she was only a couple months old. And like being away, I was only away for like 4 or 5 months, but those 4 or 5 months like were so crucial. Like I felt like I missed out on so much, and she got so big so fast.